Okay, got a question here. I mentioned being behind the corner, and then I mentioned bleeding the corner. Can you explain what that means? Okay, let me get it back real quick. The corner is the coiled hip which twisted my leg and my stretched back. When I'm here, I'm behind the corner. When I'm here, I'm not behind the corner. I call it a corner because when I coil my butt like this, my torso points toward the shortstop a little bit. Okay? It's like I have an offset. I have a leg or a direction this way and a direction this way. My feet are here, but when I coil, my shoulders are there. So what I call this the corner, right here. The corner is actually in your hip socket, your rear hip socket. You create that offset by turning your back pocket to the pitcher. Notice my head didn't move. Notice my shoulders don't move much at all when I do it. I don't want to bring my shoulders with it. I just want to turn my butt to create that offset in my hip socket, coil the rear hip socket around the ball of the femur as far as it'll go, about right there. Notice my shoulder didn't come with it. My shoulder's kind of Ferris wheel when I do it. My butt merry-go-rounds, my shoulders Ferris wheel. There's my corner. There's my corner, okay? Now from the pitcher standpoint, it looks like this. And from here, when I tilt, my knob would come up and it would be pointed at the shortstop. That means I stayed behind the corner. I launched from behind the corner. But if I have a corner and then bleed it out and swing, my knob will be pointed forward or maybe even to the pull field, okay? We need to launch the bat from behind the corner. When we launch from behind the corner, the stretch, the unwind of this leg really gives us some quickness and power. When we launch from in front of the corner, our leg is no longer twisted, no longer loaded, and we don't have the power and the quickness from the leg, and all we have is what we can generate with our upper body and arms. Okay? There's a real good corner video in the High Level Pattern online course. Watch it, it explains it in great detail. To stay behind the corner, we have to tilt to launch. If we are behind the corner but rotate, we haven't used the corner. We might have launched from behind the corner, but we haven't used it properly. We let the rotation take us out from behind the corner, then we have to push our arms. So we really want to feel this move here, which is the hip socket tilting over the ball of the femur. It's going to coil and then tilt. It doesn't coil, uncoil. This would be coil, uncoil, coil, uncoil. Instead, it's going to coil, tilt, coil, tilt, coil, uncoil, coil, tilt. And what happens is when we coil, we twist the leg, and when we tilt, the leg unwinds. Watch my knee when I tilt. My knee just snaps. I didn't consciously or work the muscles of my leg to move my knee. The leg was wound up, it was twisted, and when I tilted, I released the twist, and it happens on its own. Okay? It bursts out of the hold of the hip when the hip tilts. Okay? Teaching my daughter's team right now, how can I explain better to them ready at release? Several have good swings, just late against live pitching. All right. The ready at release concept is huge. So many people will not load or finish their loading until the ball's in flight. And when you're young and the pitching isn't that fast, or the breaking pitches aren't that good, that's not really a problem when you're still loading the balls in flight. However, you're going to get to a point where you need to be ready to pull the trigger at release, which means your loading has to be done before you ever see the ball. If I'm asking you to be able to swing the bat at pitch release, you're going to be swinging the bat as soon as you see the ball at pitch release. You're not going to hit it. You're going to swing way before the ball gets to you, but you're going to swing as soon as you see it, not after it's in ball flight. That means that all your loading, in order to do that, all your loading had to be done before that. And this is a concept that kids struggle with. They're not quite sure how to load when they can't see the ball. And it really should be no big deal, but it is a deal, okay? They can't figure out how to do this and get ready to swing until the ball's in flight, mostly because they've never been asked to do that until before. And they've never really loaded until the ball was in flight. And you mentioned your daughter, I believe she's pretty young. The pitching isn't that fast, so they've been able to at least get a barrel on the ball by loading late, okay? So the only way you can be certain that they are ready at release is to ask them to swing at release. Whether you have a machine or whether you're just tossing to them, you want them to swing right there if you're flipping balls to them. Right there. So you might get them to go right now, that feeling with you. You're doing this right now, and they're doing this right now. And they're going to learn to watch your arm and be able to swing right there. Right now. So the right part is the load, and the now part is the swing right now. And my experience has been, the first couple of swings, they still won't get it. Instead of right now, it'll be right, ball's in flight, now. Okay? It takes a while. Hey, I'm not talking about young kids, I'm talking about pros. High school kid in here this week, pro guy in here this week, talking about ready at release. And they would not swing at release. They would always swing just a little bit after release, like they had to see the ball first. And I've told them, we're not going to hit the ball. I don't care about the ball, other than the fact that as soon as the ball is released, we want to swing. We care about that point in time, but we don't care about the ball. And so, right now, and get them to feel that, and it might help them learn if you go at the same pace they go, or they go at the same pace you go, whichever one's leading, but they should be loading here and they should be swinging right there where you release the ball. Okay? Not that hard. Just get a few reps, work with them.